Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys Zack Martin predicted to make major offseason move. Frisco, there are now multiple fanboy websites that are predicting that Dallas Cowboys pending free agent guard, Zack Martin is planning an offseason jump away from America's team, and we think they've got it half right. Having said all of that, Martin, who will turn 35 next November, worked together with Dallas to create his latest contract. It does have him signed up through 2025, however, when the deal was restructured last offseason, it was designed in anticipation of a retirement, with one more year of money to be spread out over 2 seasons. And Martin, who did decline a bit in 2024, has been open about the possibility of saying goodbye. And not just to the Cowboys, but to football altogether. So before Cincy or anybody else signed him, Dallas has to cut him. And Dallas would surely prefer that if he retire instead. There is a Spotrac projection that says Martin is expected to land a 1-year, $9.1 million deal in free agency this offseason. Again, we've got issues here, because that seems way too low, and because he's not a free agent. Martin has earned the right, like other Cowboys before him, to attempt to work something out with the Joneses. And before bidding teams and their fanboy sites get too excited, one of the things that might get worked out is a retirement and then a short 5-year wait before he does indeed go to Ohio. Canton, Ohio. Not Cincinnati. Micah Parsons demands Cowboys change as new coaches take over Frisco. When Dallas Cowboys defensive leader Micah Parsons recently called for America's team to change, even offering to do what he can to facilitate that. This probably wasn't exactly what he had in mind. "I called upon the star," said Parsons on Monday as the team headed into the offseason after a challenging 2024. "I landed on it, and I'm grateful. I feel like I got one of the best jobs in America. Part of that job will be the coming negotiation of a new contract extension that could make him the highest paid non-QB in NFL history, maybe at $40 million per year. But Parsons wants something more than that, and he has visited team owner Jerry Jones to express that want. "We have a great opportunity," he said of the 2025 Cowboys. "I want to see change." Well, in recent days, change is what he's gotten in the form of head coach Mike McCarthy departing, and defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer exiting with him. Brian Schottenheimer is now the top guy, and Matt Eberflus has been hired to replace the retiring Zimmer, meaning Micah will have a third coordinator, with Dan Quinn now in Washington, in 3 years. Is that enough change for everybody? Again, though, Micah is talking about personnel and the cap and roster building. Parsons' desire for change is not about being confrontational with Jones, it's more about Parsons' willingness to help roster build, maybe by trying to negotiate a deal quickly, thus adding to Dallas' potential $100 million in available cap room, maybe by considering taking a hometown discount. "I want to see players here," he said. "I ain't to see some of these in-house free agents back in this locker room. I want to be as aggressive in free agency as we can be." Dallas has the financial wherewithal to do that, though COO Stephen Jones has downplayed that fact. And so yes, in theory, Micah's idea of bringing in a star player here and another one there is doable. As it happens, Jones and Parsons sat together when Texas played Ohio State in the college football playoff game at AT&T Stadium a couple of weeks ago. They talked, not only about how this year's Parsons deal can follow the big money contracts given last year to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, but also about how Micah can contribute to making it all fit. "I don't want to hold anybody up," Parsons said of his timing and his money. "I don't want to be a headache to nobody. Except Cowboys opponents, of course." After a disappointing season for the Dallas Cowboys, they've attempted to fix things by hiring a brand new coaching staff led by Brian Schottenheimer. While a fresh new coaching staff is certainly a step in the right direction to change, it's just the first part of improving the team's chances to contend next season. The second part is roster improvement. It's no secret that the Cowboys are typically not heavy spenders in free agency. They tend to focus on retaining the players they draft, and bargain shop in free agency. Knowing this, it's not realistic to expect the team to bring in a marquee free agent such as Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. However, there is a big name that the team could realistically pay for in free agency who would improve the wide receiver room. He's already been heavily linked to the Cowboys throughout his career. Stefon Diggs didn't have the season he was hoping for this year with the Houston Texans. He played just 8 games before tearing his ACL, having his season end prematurely. He finished with 47 receptions for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns. While on a one-year, $22.5 million contract last season, he is set to enter free agency. The Cowboys aren't in a position where they should be signing receivers to this amount of money this offseason, especially after paying CeeDee Lamb the amount they are. But after a disappointing season and suffering an injury, the Cowboys could likely get Diggs at the bargain price they like. Over at Spotrac, they have his value at a one-year contract at $13.5 million. That seems low for a player of Diggs' capabilities, but age and injury have played a role in this valuation. Back in February 2023, CB Trayvon Diggs talked to RJ Ochoa, expressing his desire for his brother to join him in Dallas. While Stefon certainly isn't in his prime, prior to suffering injury this season he had 6 straight 1,000+ yard seasons. He is an established veteran and would require attention from opposing defenses, giving CeeDee Lamb some help in the wide receiver room. He is a big name that actually seems financially realistic for the Cowboys this offseason. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Stefon Diggs? Leave your opinion in the comments.